Welcome to Japanese from Zero. This is the final lesson in book 1 of Japanese from Zero. If you've been following along in the book, you have something that looks like this. Hopefully the blue cover, not the very, very old white cover. And once we are done with these two videos, we're going to be moving on to Japanese from Zero book 2, where we start learning bigger, better sentences, more verbs, and of course, katakana. Now today, our topic is going to be about telling time. Now, everything we have learned up until now is needed. We need to know how particles work. We need to know how verb conjugation works. We even need to know how des works and ka works. And we need to know all of the hiragana. So all of these things are going to come together. Oh, and especially, we need to know numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All of them are going to be used, at least up until 59. Okay, so we're going to learn a couple of new words, or I should say a few new words that are very important to this lesson. We've learned all these words. This is like, I feel like I want to sum everything up, but we've learned what and who and where and which one and what color and what month and what day of the month. But now it's come to the last one. It is nanji. Nanji. What time? All right, here's another important word that many young people get. It's arubaito. Arubaito. So arubaito is from German. It's not a Japanese word, therefore, it is a Japanese word. But because it's foreign origin, it's not going to be written in hiragana. Therefore, it's written all in romaji right now because we don't know any katakana yet, theoretically. Some of you might, but for those of you that are only following our book series, you do not know katakana yet. You do know hiragana though. So arubaito, which I think comes from the word Arbeit, but I don't know German. And in German it means work, but in Japanese it means part-time job. Remember that work in Japanese is shigoto. All right, and this is another one that's kind of important. The opposite of having a job or the opposite of working is yasumi, right? Having a day off. Yasumi means break, day off. Like if you just take a 10-minute break, that's a small yasumi. There's another word for that, but we don't need to know that right now. But you can also take a long vacation. That's also yasumi. So now all we need to do for this lesson, well, there's a couple things we need to do. First, we need to learn how to say the times. So we're going to learn how to say o'clock first. And it's actually very easy. I'm just going to open them all up, okay? And we're going to go right through them. They're very, very easy. It's just ji is added after a number. Ichiji, niji, sanji. Now we come up to the first one that is confusing or that you will forget. I promise you'll say it wrong and you'll be corrected. It's never shiji and it's never yonji. It's always yoji. The un is always missing. Okay? Yoji. It looks like a typo if you don't know, but it is not a typo. Yoji. Never shiji. Shiji has another meaning in Japanese. It actually means command. So it is a command, which is, you don't want to command anybody, do you? 5 ji, 5 o'clock. 6 ji, 6 o'clock. 7 ji, 7 ji. Never 7 ji. Except, okay, there is a time when it can be 7 ji. I lied to you. But most of the time it's not. If you are going to be a stewardess or a steward or a flight attendant, whatever they call that nowadays, you're not going to say, especially if you're doing an international flight, when you arrive in Los Angeles, they're going to say, Tadaima no jikoku wa, or something like that. The time in LA is, they're not going to say 7 ji if it's 7, because that sounds too much like 1 ji. So in this special case, they'll say 7 ji. But in all other times, please say 7 ji. Okay? 8 o'clock is 8 ji. 8 ji. And 9 o'clock is 9 ji. Never, ever 9 ji. Not 9 ji. 9 ji. That's why they're yellow. Okay? Because they are something you need to consider. And 10 o'clock is 10 ji. Now, I don't have it on here. We don't have it on the list. But I think you can guess exactly what 11 o'clock. I'm just making sure the mic's on because I've had times where I've forgot the mic. It's happened before. I think you can guess what 11 o'clock is. It is 11 ji. And 12 o'clock, of course, is 12 ji. I was going to make a joke, but I don't want to confuse it. It is literally just 12 ji. Very simply done. Okay. Now, we're going to take what we No, with just these times, we're going to combine it with what we already know with how particles work and what we already know with how verbs work. And we're going to make a very simple sentence. And I'm not going to show it to you. First, I want to just say it in English. I want you to try to guess what it is. What time will you go? We already know everything. What time will you go? How do you say what time? Just learned it. Nanji. What comes after a time? The time marker. The time marker is ni. Nanji ni are you going? Nanji ni ikimasu ka? Nanji ni ikimasu ka? What if you're going at 8 o'clock? At 8 o'clock, I'll go. Remember that ni, the time marker or particle, same thing. They're always the same. A marker and a particle are the same thing, but sometimes it makes sense to call it a marker because you're marking a word, and other times you're not marking anything, it's a particle. You know what I mean? Like ka at the end of a sentence isn't marking a question. It's the question. I still call it the question marker, but it's a particle. They're all collectively called particles, but I like to call them marker so that you can remember in your head that they're marking something. They're telling you what it does. And when you say hachiji, you have to let the sentence know what that is. It's a time. Hachiji ni ikimasu. I'll go at 8. Hachiji ni ikimasu. All right. What if you want to say, what time did you go? Past tense. Ooh, time for a drink. Sawayaka, tasty, I feel Coke. It's an old Japanese commercial. What time did you go? Sawayaka, tasty, I feel Coke. I'm sorry. I really love Diet Coke. I'm sorry. What time did you go? Nanji ni ikimashita ka? Nanji ni ikimashita ka? What time? At what time did you go? I went at 12. Oh gosh, I have a typo. Just gonna add it. Just gonna add this. I forgot a little character here. Good thing I caught it. Don't want to confuse anybody. What's happening? Where did my letter go? Oh, okay. I have to resize everything. It was good when it was typed wrong, but once it got typed correctly, it was too long. All right. Let's get past these. So, nanji ni ikimashita ka? What time did you go? What if you went at 12? Just 12. I went at 12. 12時に行きました. 12時に行きました. Very simple, right? What if you didn't go? Someone says, hey man, what time did you go? 何時に行きましたか? Oh yeah. You know what? I didn't go. 行きませんでした. 行きませんでした. Very simple, right? We know this. This was lesson 12, right? So, we know now how to say rough time, right? We only know at this point how to say 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Let's add in the minutes. The minutes present a little bit of a tricky thing. You'll see in a second. 1 minute is 1分. Notice we have a chisai tsu. That's what it's called, by the way. A small tsu. We have this small tsu, which means it's 1分, not 1分. Never 1分. 1分. But you have to take that time up. Where that character is, you must take time up. 1分. And then it feels like a little bit more stress on the poo. Okay? So 1分. All right? What about 2 minutes? Well, so in Japanese, 分 is minute. Okay? But it's going to be different depending on what number. It's going to change. For example, for 1, it was 1分, which is not 1分. You can never say 1分. But you do have to say 2分. 2分. And you never say 2分. Okay? These are set rules. Now, let's talk about this just for a second because we haven't really addressed it. This FU sound is in the H row, right? So it's ha, he, su, he, ho. It's really kind of a mix between H and F. Even though it's okay to say it completely like an F, like 2分, not a problem. nihun, a little bit more to the H, not a problem. As long as you're within there, you're fine. And you'll hear different, wow, woo, woohoo. Sawayaka tasty, I feel Coke. It's kind of coming up. I'll teach you a new word. Don't tell your teacher I told you this. This is, if you guys are watching in the classroom, it's burp. Geppu. It's got a little tsu in there too, by the way. Matter of fact, this part right here is in there. It's a ge, and then pu, geppu, and no, that means burp, and I almost did it, and I apologize. All right, so, wow, can I ever get through the minutes? Do you guys have a minute? It's going to take me a little bit of time. 1分, 2分, 3分, 4分, always 4分, never 10分, 5分, 6分, 7分, never 7分, 8分. Now you have a choice. It could be 8分, which is most common, or 8分. 9分, never 9分. And 10分 can also be 10分, but never 10分or 10分. Those are all wrong. So these will take a little bit of getting used to. Let me just go through them one time. 1分, 2分, 3分, 4分, 5分, 6分, 7分, 8分, 9分, 10分. I don't like 10分, so I don't say it. It sounds like a country thing to me. It doesn't sound like a Tokyo person would say it. That's just my opinion. And I also like 8分. I do not like 8分. It seems like it's too hard to say for me. Now, you'll see what I've done here. I've put yellow on every one that has a P option, or that is P for always, for all the time. So, as you can see, there's really no pattern. 1, 3, 4, 6, 8, and 10. And then the ones that are Fs is 2, 5, and 7, and 9. And there's no pattern. You just, sometimes in a language, you just have to do a drill where you memorize it, okay? But there is a sort of a shortcut, okay? You can remember that it's fun to do things in 5 minutes. Go have fun. Go fun. Go fun. Go fun. Go fun. Go fun. And the opposite of that is 10. You double it and now it's a pun. Go fun becomes 10分. I don't know if that helps. It helps some people. It helped me when I was learning. So go have some fun. Go fun. Kind of a shortcut. So let's practice a little bit. I'm going to throw some clocks up on the screen. Let's see if you know what time it is. So I'm going to ask you. 何時ですか? 何時ですか? そうです. That's right. 3時です. 3時です. It is 3 o'clock. 何時ですか? 何時ですか? By the way, you just say o'clock and then the minutes, okay? So we've only done Sanji so far, but now we're going to add minutes. So in English, we say, like this timer here in English is 6:20. We don't say 6 o'clock, 20 minutes, but Japanese does. And this is confusing because you're thinking, maybe you could just say, 今何時ですか? Ima means now, by the way. I'm not sure if we taught that, but ima means now. So 何時ですか? You cannot say 6:20. Can't do that. You have to have the ji and you have to have the pun. As a matter of fact, if you want to always be safe in Japanese, remember, numbers are almost always, like literally always, followed by a counter word. You need it. In English, we do, how old are you? 6? Well, I'm not 6, but how old are you? 20? Yeah, I'm 20, right? But in Japanese, we have to say sai, right? And same thing with time, but you have to have it on both numbers. So the answer is 6時20分 or 20分, which I do not like, but it's possible. 6時20分. Okay? 何時ですか? 8時5分. Now in English, we have this weird thing where we say 8:05. Don't need the O in Japanese. You don't have to say 8時05分. You don't have to do that. Matter of fact, you would never do that. You just say the numbers plus G and plus the proper, which if it's fun or pun. So 8時, go have fun. 8時5分. Okay? All right. So now so we've only been asking purely what time is it, but what if we want to know, hey, about your break, what time is it? What time is your break? Maybe you're going to go meet your friend and they have work. They're working at the hot dog stand at the beach, like I did when I was 16. All right. So, what time is your break? You might not remember this word yet, but let's look at it. 休みは何時ですか? 休みは何時ですか? Hey, here's a bonus, right? How'd you say what time was your break? Some of you remembered. 休みは何時でしたか? 休みは何時でしたか? But that's not the question we're asking. We're asking 休みは何時ですか? And it is going to be, his break is at 1:15. 1 o'clock and 15 minutes. Okay? 1:15. 1時15分。1時15分です。アルバイトはいつですか? アルバイトはいつですか? Now remember, if someone says, when is your part-time job? You can answer with a date, like 15日. You can answer with a day of the week, like 月曜日. We know all of these things. We learned all of these things. And now that we know time, you can say it's at 4:15. 4時 not 4時 4時45分です. What if, now, this is what's amazing about Japanese grammar. It's a puzzle, and we know a lot of pieces now. We're basically done with book 1. And all of the pieces will allow you to make something that I've never taught you. Now I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to let you think about it. How would you say tomorrow at 9? It's 9 of tomorrow is your hint. Tomorrow at 9. Now your hint will be this. Remember that next Friday, or Friday of next week, was 来週の金曜日. And we didn't know time when we did this. That's why this is new. And if I was going to say April of next year, it was 来年の4月. Remember, it's the big time to the small time. Okay? Whereas in English, we go small to big. We say Monday next week or April of next year, and we go big. Japanese go big to small. So how would you say 9 o'clock tomorrow? 明日の9時です. That's when your arubaito is. You've already finished your arubaito for today, and the next time you're going to do it is tomorrow at 9. 明日の9時です. All right, now let's learn 3 more words so we can get a little bit more advanced. Okay? Han. Han means half past. It also means 30 minutes. And I know we're getting ready to say things like 2:30 and things like that. And I know that in England and maybe other countries in the UK, they say 3:30. But we don't do that in America. That's very weird for me. I don't know. What do you guys do in Australia? Because to Americans, Australians are English people. I mean, we don't know. Most people just think Australian accent is English accent. So, and I know how Australia was formed. I'm just saying. Do you guys say past 3? In the comments, let me know. I don't know. In America, we say 3:30. We have to have the word past in English, or it's very awkward. Well, in Japanese, the word half past comes after. It means, so in Japanese, you basically say 2 o'clock half. Okay? So for example, 2 o'clock half. 2:30 would be 2時半. You can say 2時30分. That's fine. But most people are going to say 2時半. Now this word 午前 means morning or AM. Okay? And it comes in front of the word. So if you want to say 2 in the morning or 2 a.m., you say 午前2時. If you want to say afternoon, it's 午後 or PM, right? So 2 p.m. is 午後2時. Never is it going to be 2時午後. Remember, order is important. And it's almost, no, I'm not going to say almost always, but many times it's reversed from English, okay? So let's look at some times. Let's say you're in your house and you hear this loud noise. Blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden there's this loud noise. It's like 2:30 in the morning. Oh man, 2:30 in the morning, you woke up my Evie. She was sleeping on my lap. Evie, I know by the time you're watching this video, you don't even know what Pokemon is. But at the making of this video, Pokemon was pretty huge. I know it's only old people do it now, but My daughters have already stopped doing it. I'm the only one like, we're just going to get some upgrades here. 2:30 in the morning is what? Gozen, niji, han. We've combined both of those words, right? We learned gozen and we learned han, and now it's together. Gozen, niji, han. All right, what about this time? Just say the time first. 9時55分。9時55分。午前9時55分。Okay, 9:55 a.m. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. That is actually 8:55. That is 8時55分. Because you see that this is almost up. You got to know how to tell time. You got to know how to tell time. And I got confused because it's pointing to the 9. I thought 9時. But that's not how time works, right? It's so close to the 12 that it's almost directly on the 9. So apologize for that. So embarrassing. 8時55分. Next one. And the last one. 10:30 a.m. 午前10時半. 午前10時半. You know, you kind of don't say gogo. You kind of don't say gogo 10時半. That's kind of awkward, right? It is PM, but that's like in the afternoon. You might say yoru, night. Yoru 10時半. Okay? So just remember that. Yoru. Y-O-R-U. Yoru. All right. Thank you for watching. We have more on this lesson in the very next video. I'll see you there right now. Bye.